Songs sometimes really help to solve issues. There is a good song about the unity of people of different religions. Well, have I answered your question?
Yes, basically.
The love that comes through in the songs is the energy of love. Knowledge is transmitted through love, and when a person listens to a song, they can grasp the truth better than through words. We just need to love God, love each other, and continue living. I can share my experience with you. I have many friends in different faiths, and all these people have gone through a certain path, just like me. The path is like this. At first, people believe in God very fanatically, and they think that faith exists only within one confession. And they have a very narrow view of the world. This is a certain stage of life, and it needs to be gone through. Gradually, as a person develops, they begin to see that there is holiness here and there as well. And they have to overcome a certain internal barrier, because everyone around claims that faith is only here, only here, only here. They hear about this all the time. But when a person passes this barrier, they see that faith exists both here and there. God is everywhere. This doesn't mean that all faiths are correct, but most of them are. There are confessions, mainly traditional ones, that have existed for thousands of years. They are all correct. But they have different moods in their relationship with God. This difference is enormous. You can't mix all faiths together. You can't unite everything, because the moods are different types of love. If a daughter loves her father one way, and a son in another way, it's very difficult for them to understand each other. The daughter says, "Why do you hit Dad?" You wrestle with him, and that's not love. And the son believes that he has love for Dad, just a different kind. You just need to realize that if you are above sectarianism, above this narrow perception of the world, then it will be easy for you to live together. I know such examples. I have friends who are of different faiths, husband and wife, and they live together happily. They complement and enrich each other. But you both must have such views. And if one of you has different views, then they need to be re-educated. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to live. But if you both have such views, then there are no problems at all. It happens sometimes that a man has a very deep connection with his confession and is immersed very much in faith. In this case, it's better for the wife to outwardly observe the rituals of his tradition, outwardly, and within the family to agree with him that you can pray as you want, and then there won't be any contradictions at all. There's a movie, Jodha and Akbar. It's a Bollywood film about the great Akbar, a king who conquered all of India. He himself was Muslim, but Hindus also surrendered their principalities to him because he preserved their rule and protected their faith. He was for the unity of India, and he was the first to unite all of India. And he took a wife. One king gifted him his daughter. In India, it's possible that one can gift a wife. And he accepted her. This daughter turned out to be a very serious Hindu believer. He created an entire area for her inside his palace where she could worship God and live according to her beliefs, following Hindu rules. And the whole film is about this, how he treated her righteously, how others didn't accept her, and how she endured it all for him. The film is about their love. Watch it together with your husband and discuss it. With your fiancé, what's the correct term?
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. I have a question. What should I do if the mind is very restless?
You should understand that you were born in a female body.
For example, in the morning, when I can pray and do yoga, I get energized. And I have enough calmness for half a day only. But by evening, my mind becomes very restless and destructive thoughts appear.
Thoughts are conquered by sound. For instance, when you feel that negativity is overwhelming you, turn on spiritual music. Sound defeats negativity. It's enough to just turn it on and you'll feel better. Or you can turn on a lecture in one earphone. Even if you're not listening to it, you might be doing some tasks. The sound of an elder will calm you down. So in other words, I will explain what's actually happening. By evening, your emotional strength fades, you don't have enough energy in your body. And this means that you spend too little time outdoors. You have too little movement. This is what I talked about yesterday. You also have to take care of your health. You should start doing exercises, movement, and you'll have enough energy for the whole day. That means by evening, around 5 or 5:30, your battery drops to 0, and after that, you're tired. When a small child is tired, they also start screaming and crying. Why? It happens from fatigue. There's not enough strength, emotional and mental energy. How should you recharge? From kind people. Turn on a lecture right away and listen while cooking or doing something else. Or spiritual music can play in the house or in your ear. You should live this way. And for the future, know that you're hypodynamic, that you lack movement in your life. For example, why did we talk without a microphone for some time, about 6 or 7 minutes? Because the batteries in the microphone were discharged. It's the same with you. Your batteries are discharged, almost discharged. They don't last all day, and therefore they need to be charged. And a person recharges from nature, you understand. But people don't know that we're like a battery. There are obvious signs of this. For example, we need to eat constantly. Why is that? And do you think people only lack physical energy? What are the signs of hunger? A person becomes nervous, irritable, angry, argues with everyone, becomes difficult to tolerate. This means there's a lack of subtle energy, not physical. And when a person eats, they replenish 60% of subtle energy, not physical. And the proof is very simple. When a person has eaten, they calm down, become kind, cheerful, their mood improves, they enjoy life, because they are replenished with subtle energy. So while cooking, you should pray to God to properly charge the food with energy. And therefore you should eat food that gives quality subtle energy, not depressive, like meat. Quality food is vegetables and fruits. Vegetables give calmness to a person. Fruits give optimism. There is quality subtle energy, and there is low quality energy. And people should learn to eat quality food that gives a person a good mood and inner positivity. Study how to live the right way. Getting up early is also very important. If you wake up late, it means your battery will work worse. The lady with the braid, please.
Good evening. I have a question. I'm in my final year now, getting my diploma in 3 months. I have a terrible fear about work. How much will I earn? Will I be able to fulfill myself in my professional life? But, at the same time, I have no thoughts about personal life, no thoughts about creating a family. How can I change priorities so that my thoughts and energy are focused on my personal life instead of worrying about where I will work, whether I will succeed, and how much I will earn?
I can tell you either a self-interested parable or a selfless one. Which would you prefer? The self-interested parable, there's a snake called Otsagar. It feeds on mice. A mouse digs its burrow. The snake eats the mouse and lives in its burrow, solving 2 problems at once. It's the same with a woman. When she gets married, she solves both personal life and work issues simultaneously. Maybe she will work, but at least she doesn't worry about it. It's the man who worries when he gets married. You see, a woman doesn't worry because she'll have children anyway, so she can say, yes, I'll go to work. But how long will she work? For 6 months. Then she gets pregnant and says, I won't work. I'm afraid of losing the baby. And that's it. Well, and that's the end of it. This is called common sense. Because family life is not a selfless thing. People still understand that they have some personal interests. And therefore, a sensible woman gets everything without tension if she invests in love. Love is such a thing that solves issues without tension. For example, if a woman, specifically a woman, not a man in a skirt, is a factory director, she solves everything with love. Her methods are very kind, everyone is satisfied and happy, there are no problems, because no one can resist love. Therefore, a woman should first realize herself in this aspect of love. She should gain strength there. Therefore, the main issue for you isn't about marriage right now, but simply learning to be friends with women, love everyone, care for everyone. This is what you should be doing. This is your duty to your fate right now. Whether you go to work or not, you say you are afraid whether you can or cannot. What's there to be afraid of? You'll get married and get pregnant anyway. What's the difference? Don't be afraid of anything. Work where God has given you the opportunity and smile at everyone, love everyone, be happy for everyone. You're a woman. You don't need to be afraid of anything. A woman is born to bring happiness to people and receive happiness from people in return. That's what she's born for, not to work herself to death or go to war or for anything else. Understand your purpose. Why were you born into this world? For whom did you make such a beautiful braid? For whom?
Probably for myself, I like it.
Probably for all people, right?
Yes.
Well, you see, this is your purpose, to give beauty to people. A woman gives beauty to people. She gives life by her presence. This is her role in society, which is why a woman is often referred to as the better half of humanity. If people around understand this, she gives them happiness and love. We must acknowledge that a woman is better than a man. A man should acknowledge that his wife is better than him. He should acknowledge that he is worse than her, and she will be grateful to him for this all her life. She will give him love. If she becomes a bit proud of herself, you can educate her a little by distancing yourself from her. She will immediately understand that this is not the way. A woman always knows what's best for her. If she sees that a person is good, respectful, Why would she behave badly with him? If she made a mistake, she will repent. But in general, a woman must first understand why she was born into this world. If you don't understand, what can I do? How can I help you? Only through knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Get a job. It's impossible to live without work. But deep down, know why you were born into this world, for what purpose. When a woman works too hard and her boss says, overtime work, she says, yes, sir. The boss exhausts and exploits her that she's worn out, and then nobody needs her because she has lost all her beauty. She doesn't know how to live anymore. She panics and leaves this job, letting everyone down, including herself, and she doesn't understand what happened. Why is everything so bad? Why am I so unlucky? What's the reason? And the reason is that you didn't understand that you're a woman. You shouldn't have worked so hard. Boss tells you you need to stay for overtime work, and you say, I don't know, probably I won't be able to. And he understands that she's a woman. Well, she's a woman. What can I do? I'll find another one who doesn't consider herself a woman. I'll ask her to work more. If you consider yourself a woman, everyone will consider you a woman. If you don't consider yourself a woman, then no one will. And life will be unbearable for you because a woman receives all blessings simply from loving everyone and being loved by everyone. That's it. This is where her strength, duties, and luck lie. But if she doesn't understand this, then she gets nothing. Let's say you take a beautiful box. It says delicious candies on it. You open it, there's nothing inside. Who needs that? This box goes straight to the trash. But if there's something inside, it will be kept because there are these delicious candies inside, you understand? Fill your box with your purpose, your nature, and then everyone will cherish you. No one will throw you away. Next question.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. Thank you for the knowledge you give us. Good evening, everyone. A question about yesterday's topic, about male purpose. Actually, a man should develop. But there are such moments in life when, whether you want it or not, fate makes it so that you have to take care of family, take care of children, and spend whole days doing this.
You mean it's so time-consuming that you don't even have time to work, or what?
Well, I work, and then rush home. What should I do?
That's how life is arranged. What can you do?
I have a big family workload with children.
How many children do you have? Are they very young?
The eldest will be 18 soon.
And the youngest?
The middle one is 13. The youngest is 5.
So 3 boys?
3 boys. And it turns out that my wife lives in another place with our son. She says it's more convenient for her to live there because her parents are there.
She made a mistake. This is wrong. A woman should stay with her husband, not with her parents or in her own comfort place. This is how she destroys her life. If she chose convenience instead of her husband, then she is destroying her life.
Should I try to explain this to her?
Yes, explain it.
Well, she gets offended by me. I asked, what should I do? She got offended because I accepted my children. They are from my first marriage, and there are difficulties in the new family. They can't live with their mother.
Oh, so you have only one child with her, right?
Yes, one with her.
Oh, so this is how it is? So it is complicated.
Yes. And it turns out that she gets offended because I accepted children without her consent. She didn't agree. And now I'm stuck in the middle of these difficulties.
You need prayer. You're losing your wife right now. Your wife is distancing herself from you. Your marriage is falling apart. Another 2 years of living like this, and she'll be alone, and you'll be alone. Your family will be destroyed if you continue living like this. You need prayer, and you need to make compromises. But this is a difficult situation, and it's hard to give any advice because you shouldn't just abandon your children either. Overall, you must understand that you are working off karma from your previous marriage. You made mistakes there, and now punishment is coming to you. It's falling on your head. You need to endure this punishment somehow. You need prayer, spiritual life. The problem isn't that you don't have time to work. You have a difficult family fate right now. You need prayer, and the sign that you are overcoming your fate will be when your wife stops confronting you. She will soften towards you. The problem isn't even that she's living separately. The problem is the refusal to accept that you took in children, and the fact that you took them in is the best decision you've made in your life. It was something that had to be done. That was the right choice. She made a mistake by not accepting them, but it's very hard for a woman to accept someone else's children in general. She's a being that, while she loves children as a woman, she only truly loves her own when it comes down to it. She can get used to someone else's children, like from another woman, and love them too. That can happen as well, but it takes time. So the best thing is to live in the same city, maybe in different apartments, but in the same city. That way you can meet up and she can interact with your other children as well. Over time, she will accept them into her life.
She does interact with them. We meet, we visit her, and she visits us.
Well, that's good. It means the process is moving forward.
Can I ask another question? Sorry for keeping you.
Regarding your fate, if you don't resolve this issue within 2 years, at least by moving to the same city, she will leave you. Or something will happen that will separate you. I don't know what will happen, but in about 1.5 years, a difficult period will start in her personal life. And during that time, you need to be there for her. Otherwise, she won't be able to handle it.
I've already come to this situation in my life. I've practically made my decision. My middle son is seriously ill. He has allergies and asthma, and I've decided to sell the house. It's hard for him with asthma there. So I decided to move to Krasnodar region for the sake of the child.
And is it better for him there? Do you know that in autumn, ragweed blooms there and all asthma sufferers go crazy?
Yes, I know. When we were there, he was fine with ragweed.
He didn't react? Well, that's good, that's fine.
Well, she kind of says, go, settle there, get it all sorted out, and I'll come to you in 1 year or 1.5 years.
Yes, she can come, absolutely, yes. Well, that's a good decision.
Will everything be all right?
Everything will be all right when a person does what God wants. God wants people to develop. If you have prayer, a spiritual life, everything will be fine. If not, it's unknown. Everything is created by the heart of the person. If I face any obstacle in life, I don't ask anyone, will everything be okay? I simply take it and overcome it, and then I see that everything is fine. And then I am certain that everything will be all right. You see, you can't rely on luck or on a good uncle in your fate. You must rely only on the power that defeats fate. This is how a person should live. The girl at the back with the black braid.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. I'm very happy to see you. I've been listening to your lectures for a long time, and I thank God for the opportunity to thank you personally, for the knowledge you give and the help you provide to people. I have a personal question. My husband and I have been married for 2 years.
Is he sitting next to you?
Yes.
Are you upset with him?
No.
Everything is good?
Yes, everything is good. Our family relationships are good overall. The problem is that we don't have children.
It's not resentment, it's just that feeling. He has overheated semen. He needs water fasting to eat a lot of raw roots, carrots, beets, and drink ginseng root. As for you, there's cold and hypodynamia. You need running, yoga, eating raw vegetables. Swimming is good. So you need to activate your body. It's stagnant and weak, not functioning for conception. Well, plus, if it doesn't work, you can also put seeds in your ears. That helps too.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't see any problems. Doctors may tell you that you have some chromosome problem.
Yes, the doctors say that.
That's their problem, you see, because they have their own way of thinking. But my experience from 25 years of medical practice shows that in your case, if you start doing what I told you, pregnancy will happen in 6 months. Now please raise your hand if you're a woman who started living the way I told you and it happened. 1, 2, anyone else? Well, that's enough for now, right?
Thank you very much.
Now look, let's say I'm banging my head against the wall trying to get out, and someone tells me there should be an exit here. I bang my head, but there's no exit. So let's say half a year goes by. After 6 months, I start to feel like I'll never get out of this room. But the reason I can't get out is simply because of wrong thinking. Instead of banging my head, I just need to start doing something else that will lead me to the exit. Are you listening or not? You have wrong thinking, you're disappointed, because you're not taking the right actions needed for conception. Usually people think that for conception you just need to do one thing, and that's it. And if that doesn't work, they think they need to use pills that will make it happen. That's wrong thinking. Do you understand? It's like sitting in a car, starting it, but it doesn't go anywhere. A year goes by, and then someone tells them, listen, the gas is out, but they didn't know the gas was running out. Nobody told them. I'm telling you that your gas is out. You have no energy for conception. You're not doing what you should be doing. First, you need to fill your body with strength, and only then start the engine. His body is overheated. He definitely needs a pool. Swimming is needed to cool the body. Raw food is needed. But for you, it's the opposite. You need warm food, more dairy, and movement. A stiff body, it is a sedentary body. Start doing this, and then pregnancy will follow. The more you get involved with doctors, the more they put you on hormones, the more your hormonal balance changes, the more the body gets clogged with all sorts of things, and the less chance there is that everything will work out good. Because it's wrong to believe that the body is that stupid and doesn't know how to conceive. The body is not stupid, it knows how to conceive. It has everything it needs for that. It only lacks strength. It's up to you, the body can't make you move. It's up to you to decide whether you want to live or die. You see, if a person doesn't want movement in their life shortens. The first sign of this is when functions are disrupted. Pregnancy is a function, you understand. It gets disrupted because there's not enough strength. This is the main cause of infertility. A lot of people come to me, and 90% of them suffer from infertility simply because their body doesn't have enough strength to conceive. Strength comes from nature. Go run, jump, do exercises, rejoice in Mother Nature, and it will give you a child. When I first started giving lectures, I was 23 years old. That was 30 years ago. I was a student, a young, passionate person. One woman came to me. She had 11 miscarriages. She was 33 years old. She had been married for 12 years, and every year she had a miscarriage. She came to me, and I was treating people at some resort right after university. I was a young specialist, but I was treating everyone with a healthy lifestyle. I made her bathe in an ice hole in winter. Slowly I taught her to get used to cold water. She bathed in the ice hole every day. It was a 2-week treatment course, treatment in the ice hole. I treated some people differently, but with her, I decided she would bathe in the ice hole. Can you imagine? A woman bathing in an ice hole. But that's not all. On about the 9th day of bathing, she realized she was pregnant. She was pregnant before she started bathing, so the pregnant woman bathed in the ice hole. That's what saved her, because when she bathed in the ice hole, her body relaxed deeply, and the increased tone of the uterus went away. She continued bathing until she reached a normal term, carried the baby, and gave birth. She came to me with her husband and said something that has made people laugh for the past 20 years of my lecture career. She said, "Thank you, Dr. Torsunov, for my son." Her husband lowered his head. Although I don't think I had much to do with it. If you told doctors about this now, it would seem like a paradox. I wouldn't do it this way now. You see, anything can happen. She could have overcooled and gotten sick. It's an extreme method. I wouldn't do it this way now, but sometimes that happens. It happens that Mother Nature, even in such extreme situations, saves a person from a severe illness. That's why Mother Nature is better than a hospital, you understand? Always better. Even if you go a little overboard, it will still give you a good result. Another extreme case happened with my friend. I'm not saying you should do it the same way. It's just that the Vedas say that sun gives a person the ability to overcome infection. In the end, it's the energy of the sun that defeats all viruses. It's fire, right? Kind fire in the body, solar fire that burns away everything unnecessary. One of my friends, someone I had been friends with for a long time, when he was in India as a Vedic monk, contracted a serious infectious disease. You could say it was incurable. He was being treated by Ayurvedic doctors. He was completely exhausted. He had diarrhea and looked like a skeleton covered with skin. Everyone thought he was going to die. These doctors brought him out into the scorching sun. It was summer in India and it was 50 degrees in the shade. They laid him right in the sun. They sat around him in all 4 directions and started to pray. They told him, "Focus and rejoice in the sun. Either you accept the sun as your doctor and heal, or you'll die. It's one or the other." That was a serious warning. He focused on the sun, wishing everyone happiness. After lying there for an hour, he felt better. Then he quickly recovered and started improving. That was another case. A third case was similar but slightly different. One woman, when I was living in India, came to me to heal her child who was completely immobile. The child was alive but completely immobile. I couldn't help this child. She found priests who sat around him in all 4 directions and prayed non-stop for 12 hours. Then they said, "This should help, but if it doesn't, no one will ever be able to help him." The next day he began to move his fingers, and within a month he started walking. Then when he was 5, she vaccinated him, and he died from the vaccination. But that's not important. I've been asked about vaccines, so I'm telling you this story. You see how prayer works, how nature works, how sun and water work. Study all of this. Try to understand where to go, where to seek shelter, where to find help. And conversely, it often happens that hormones destroy all chances of conception. The natural function of the body is disrupted, and the body can no longer do anything about it because external factors, which the person creates in their mind, are preventing it from functioning properly. And they're messing with your mind. What is incorrect thinking? Remember this. In most cases, the body just needs nature and movement. That's it. When you have these, you will be healthy. Remember, movement should be smooth, calm, and joyful. These are the 3 criteria. No overloads, in a calm mood. Some people say, I already run around all day. Why haven't I healed? You're fussing. You don't have calmness. In a bad mood, the body doesn't absorb nature's energy. Only in joy does it absorb. Commercial break. You keep telling me, Dr. Torsunov, come to us again, come to us again. You don't realize that I can meet with you once a month. We have an online project called Online Pure Goodness. You can find it on our website. You gather in a small group somewhere in an apartment or a small space. And many cities gather this way. I stay at home. And I communicate with you directly. There are answers to questions, a lecture, and also a wishing everyone happiness segment. It can be held once a month. Typically, it's on Saturday or Sunday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Moscow time. We meet and talk. We meet and communicate. Raise your hand if you attend these online lectures. You see, there are people who attend, but not many. I know all of them by face because when I hold online sessions, people are right in front of me on the computer. In the lecture, I can't see faces well from the back, only from the front, but there, I can see everyone and remember all those people. And I already know everything about them. When I see a person, I feel their fate, and if they ask a question, I immediately answer them. Here, in the foyer, you can also learn everything about online seminars. We also have festivals, unique festivals. Everyone who attends says it's the best time of their life. They do different exercises and yoga in the mornings. They eat blessed, cooked with prayer food that is very delicious. They spend the day listening to lectures. Then in the evening there are concerts. You can go and swim in the sea. For 2 weeks, a person lives like this, and their life changes completely. There's a special festival for children. A program is organized for children, and teachers work with them. Kids run, jump, draw, dance, and do all sorts of things. Parents are happy. Children are happy. You can also listen to lectures with babies in your arms. Just step outside, and the broadcast is going on. You can listen through headphones while walking. There are radio broadcasts. In general, everyone is immersed. There are also celebrations and various events. You won't be able to go in May. We are serious about this. Only 1,000 people can attend, and all the tickets are already sold out. But you can come in September, from the 15th of September until the end of October. Registration usually happens a month or 2 in advance. You can reserve your place, come and relax. People often meet there. People come from 40 to 50 countries around the world. It turns into an international festival. It's in Russian. Sometimes a wife comes with her foreign husband and translates the lectures for him herself. That happens. That's the commercial break. Here we have 4 Good People Clubs where you can develop to the fullest. Right here in this city, the organizer of the Good People Club is a very talented organizer overall. She has practically completed a new project called Marriage in Pure Goodness, or Dating in Pure Goodness. It's an extremely unique project. What makes it unique? It's not like the usual dating websites where you don't know what will happen next. Here, it's different. You will be seriously questioned. You will fill out questionnaires. We carefully select people. Then they don't just meet each other on their own. They meet with mediators. They go through courses on how to build relationships before even meeting. It's a whole system that provides practical, serious ground for people to believe they'll succeed. And how does it all work? I think it's even free. A man visits the website and he starts the program, which automatically selects from 50,000 women. He's given 50 that suit him best. Then, from those 50, he picks the ones he likes, and there are 3 or 4 left. He communicates with them, and 1 remains. Then he meets with that one through a mediator who teaches him, saying, "This is how you shouldn't talk to a woman. Try speaking like this instead." Great project, isn't it? Now get ready to jump in. As soon as you see the advertisement on the website, sign up. But I warn you, if you want to find a good woman but are already married, it won't work, because we need to check for a marriage stamp in your passport. No enemies will pass. It's all very serious. All right, the commercial is over. The Vedas are very wise knowledge. I came across them more than 20 years ago. I'm still amazed at how everything is arranged. It's all very deeply thought out by God, so that a person continually delves deeper into the understanding of their nature, studying themselves as an individual. The Vedas explain that according to the activity of these 3 centers of the mind that we studied yesterday, there are 4 purposes for a person. What does this mean? It means that a person has followed a certain path in life through many lifetimes. And this path is anchored in intelligence. It is solidified by their willpower, their temperament, their abilities, their worldview, their perspective on the world, their internal setting, their point of view. Now, we will look at these four natures. So if we look at these centers of intelligence not from the point of view of their daily function, but from the perspective of the mindset for activity, or from the perspective of how one perceives activities and the world, these centers can be either strongly active or turned off, and we will compare them to a traffic light. In our version of the traffic light, one center of intelligence is fully on, the second is half on, and the third is off. There will always be all four purposes of a person, all four constitutions of intelligence. They all have this nature. The first purpose is the topmost traffic light associated with consciousness, which is strongly activated in a person's life. This means that the person believes that knowledge will save the world. They have this particular focal point of perception, and they believe that knowledge will save the world. They have the top traffic light fully on, the heart one half on, and the bottom one asleep. This means that these people are focused on studying and discovering the truth in this world. They love to study, love to give knowledge to people, and their life revolves around knowledge. They try to understand how to do things correctly. So the top traffic light gives them the concept that knowledge will save the world. The second traffic light is connected not with the world, but with people. Therefore, such people believe that knowledge is needed to change their lives. They lack knowledge. I belong to this category. This is how my traffic light works. I have felt and believed this since childhood. When children are born into this first category, even a small infant, you can already see that they belong to this category. What does such a child look like? They look at their parents as if detached from everything, just observing them. They are described as sages. They see through things and seem calm and detached. How do they behave in life? Usually they don't get deeply involved in games. They always ask how to do something right and do it as they are told. In other words, they try to study everything. They are not inclined to command others, for example, or to manage. Such a child always tries to explain to everyone how to do things correctly and listens to others' explanations. They love working on themselves and studying how to live properly. Since childhood, they are like this, like a character from the book Dunno on the Moon. It's I Know It All. They wear glasses, very smart, proper, very correct. I Know It All is a person from the first category, and this category will never change in life. You must understand that a person can be undeveloped and they will have to go through these 5 stages. The first stage is to become engaged, like a man. Then comes a hobby. Then they acquire abilities and develop them. Afterwards, they find their nature, and then they become a leader for everyone if they follow the whole path of intelligence development. What character qualities does the person of the first category have? What are the dangers? What are the advantages? The main motivation in life is the desire to comprehend truth. That means that such a person wants to know what is right. This is the most important thing in life for them. The most important quality that helps them comprehend truth is truthfulness. They must be very sincere and truthful. They should learn to tell the truth, learn to do everything right, follow the path of righteousness and correctness. Conscience is the foundation of their life. They must be conscientious. Such a person also should be simple. Simplicity is their quality. They have strong inclination towards asceticism, working on themselves, self-control, and detachment from vanity. All these are the qualities of this person. What are the flaws? Such a person may begin to be proud of themselves, their knowledge, and may set their goal not to help people but to pursue a career in knowledge. That means that they may aspire not to help people with knowledge, but to pursue a PhD, doctorate, become an academician, and so on. They can set themselves up for using knowledge to elevate themselves above others. This is a flaw. This means pride. The person becomes proud. I once met such a person. This person heads a very serious scientific institution. I only had a 15-minute conversation with him. He told me how many people under his leadership became academicians, doctors of sciences, scientists, and how many scientific discoveries his institute had made. All this was true, and I listened to him very respectfully. But the problem is that this person didn't talk about anything else. Finishing the conversation, he said, "We will cooperate with you because you are a good person." Although I didn't even open my mouth, I just nodded to him. I agreed with him, respecting his achievements. This indicates pride. A proud person cannot even change for the better because knowledge won't penetrate deeper into them. According to Chinese teaching, a person's ability to receive knowledge is compared to a jug. Sometimes the jug is turned upside down, and when you pour into it, nothing goes in. That means that they know everything themselves and don't let anyone else get inside. That means the jug is upside down. And sometimes there is a hole at the bottom of the jug. This also means that a person is living wrong. That means that, let's say, they received knowledge but then started to fuss, do foolish things, and all the knowledge leaked out through the hole. The third option is called an overfilled jug. That means a person receives knowledge from different sources, everything gets mixed up, and it becomes like a swamp. That's where things start to stink and spoil. Knowledge becomes stale. The right option is when the jug gets filled and gives back to others. That means it has a neck and everything flows out from the neck. It's full, clean. Like flowing water, knowledge is poured into it, and it distributes it to those who need this water. That means a person always receives knowledge and always gives it. Well, this is the right path. The wrong path is when a person doesn't practice, they only take knowledge in, and it becomes stale there. They've read a lot and say, I don't know who to believe anymore. To know who to believe, you need to do it yourself first, and then you will know everything. Pride is an obstacle for those people who receive knowledge. If a person doesn't have a teacher, a mentor, they're unlikely to succeed on this path. What occupations are suitable for people in the first category? Teachers, coaches, lawyers, doctors, those doctors who give knowledge to people, educators. They are all people who somehow teach others or use knowledge to pass it on. These can be scientists or engineers who create some models or draw something or invent. Inventors can be among them. Those who receive knowledge and use it to develop this world are people of the first category. Immediately a question arises. Can a flower seller be of the first category? Yes, if while selling flowers they teach people about right living. If selling flowers isn't the main thing for them, but giving knowledge to people is the main thing, they are people of the first category. This is quite possible. That means the profession itself indirectly indicates a person's nature, but not completely. That means there can be different professions. A factory director can be of the first category if they don't manage people, but teach them how to live right. But someone else helps them manage. They have managers, but they themselves are like a father. They tell everyone how to live right. They have a goal, to uplift the country, and they provide strong ideological support to the team, setting them up for right thoughts. Someone else punishes and maintains order because it's not in their nature to do it. What are the exclusive qualities of these people? They tend to forgive, and they are not inclined to fight, but are inclined to sacrifice themselves. In general, they can punish a person, they can even curse, but they never fight with anyone. They can endure something, can forgive, can punish, but they won't fight or battle for their rights. Their sense of self-esteem is directed towards knowledge very much, not towards proving their rightness. Remember, this is a very important criterion of such people. And usually these people win. They can fight, but only through prayer. They usually overcome situations without letting them escalate into battles. Well, if, let's say, such a person leads an army, most likely the battle won't begin. A peace treaty will be signed or something like that. If they are strong, they will simply make it so that no blood is shed. Did you get an idea of what kind of person this is? Let's move on. If a person's second light is shining fully, that means they have the desire to give good to people, so that people live well. They have a strong desire to take care of people. The first light is half on, the third one is not on. What does this mean? This means that the person is by nature a ruler or manager. That means they have an inclination to manage people. What is the main concept in their consciousness? A person in the first category wants knowledge that will help all people. Their concept of life is that everyone should live right, and then everything will be fine. But a person of the second category believes that order will save the world, proper world order, proper authority, proper management structure will save the world. When such a small child is born, they look completely different. While the first one is detached, calm, studies everything, looks at everyone, observes. A child of the second category is completely different. They are absolutely opposite. They are born with authority, power in their gaze. They look at their parents as if asking, "What's going on?" Still a very small child, but they watch and make sure everything is as it should be. And even when they cry, they look so seriously, as if asking, "Why is there no milk? What's the matter?" This child's sense of self-esteem is directed towards power and strength. They are leaders in society. They have been like this since childhood. When such a child is born and starts walking, they look at everyone like, "What's the matter? What's going on?" And they immediately control every situation and start establishing order. If you're against what they are doing and say, "Who do you think you are, the boss?" they will prove that they are the boss. They will start fighting, demanding their way, fighting for their right to be senior, to be the boss, even if they are only 1 year old. You might ask, what's this? What kind of nonsense is this? There's no nonsense here. Just 2 years ago, this child was a factory director. A person lives eternally. He was a factory director, passed away, and was born as a small child, but he still remembers himself as that person, not this one. And that's why he behaves in the same way as he remembers himself, you understand? That means he's of that category. He was born to manage people, that's why he's like this. Men of this category possess enormous strength. Women have a very strong character. That means from birth, women have a very strong sense of self-esteem, while men have strength. Such children are not afraid of anything. Fighting is no problem for them at all. Beating someone up is no problem at all. They don't do this without reason. If something's wrong, they first warn and explain. If that doesn't work, they prove it with force. Parents of children in the first category can raise them using kind explanations, as they don't like violence. If violence occurs, the child will refuse to obey parents out of principle. They don't like violence at all. They consider any violence to be unfair. Therefore, you should always be kind to them, explain things to them. If you want to punish them, you can put them in a corner, you can restrict their freedom, but you can't use force with such children, because they simply don't understand it. What about children in the second category? You can use force with a boy. He will respect his father if the father is strong. But you can't prove anything to him by force. You can only show him that you're stronger, therefore you're right. But to make him do something, you need to negotiate with him. These children have such a strong sense of self-esteem that you need to negotiate with them. You should say, "Listen, son, you're a serious guy, I understand, but life is such that you need to poop only in the toilet. For a respectable person like you, it's not appropriate to do it in your pants." If you explain it to him from the position of self-esteem, from the position of social status in society, he won't poop in his pants anymore because it's not prestigious, you understand? That means such children like to wear royal clothes. Everything needs to be prestigious for them. Everything should be cool, and you need to explain things to them from this perspective. Everything that's not beneficial to them, it's like not a royal thing to do, you understand? You have to poop in the toilet. Something like that, you understand? From early childhood, there is a cartoon called Mr. Fyodor. I'm sorry I got mixed up, this is from a different topic. Mr. Fyodor, why did they call the boy Mr.? Look at his parents. They were leaders too, such respectable people. Mom says, "I'll wear 3 dresses, then I'll definitely come, but first I want to wear 3 dresses." Mom is so cool, and the parents call their son Mr. Fyodor. That means he's not just a boy, not just little Fedya, but Mr. Fyodor. Why Mr.? Because he's a leader by nature. Who did he manage? He managed a cat, a dog, and so on. This is the nature of a leader. And then in the cartoon's continuation, a similar girl was born. Also a leader by her nature. She was born and independently decided to get to the village in a parcel. And so on. That means these people of the second category are very independent. This is a classic example. How does such a person behave in life? They are very attached to their social status. They need their reputation to never be damaged under any circumstances. They are very concerned about their reputation. Such people always make sure that everything is done right. I remember doing sambo as a kid, and once I was wrestling with one boy. I started applying a painful hold and he was squealing. I was winning, and another boy our age came up to me, looked at me and said, "Let him go." He just looked at me very seriously, "Let him go." And just like that, I let him go instantly. I used to wrestle just for curiosity, for learning. I didn't want to prove to anyone that I was stronger. But this boy came up because he saw that the other one was weaker and felt he needed to intervene. He came up as a second category person. There was the power of justice and authority in his eyes. When he spoke, it was clear that he had the right to do so. I immediately let go, that's it. I submitted to his will. Later I was surprised how this person just came up and influenced me like that. I started thinking about it. I found it interesting. In reality, these people can only achieve their goals if they develop the ability to change their ambitions. Each category has ambitions. First category people are proud of their knowledge, as I've already said, and strive for career advancement, academic degrees, and fame. That means pride and fame are their shortcomings. For the second category people, anger is their shortcoming. They get angry easily, and they have a desire to subordinate people. Domination over other people and anger are the shortcomings of such people. When they achieve success, instead of wanting to subordinate people, they start becoming very caring. That means they take care of others. They make sure that people around them are happy. They are looking out for people's happiness instead of trying to subordinate them, although they naturally always fight for power. If someone wants to take away their power, they fight with that person. They don't give them the opportunity to take away their power, because if they lose power, they also lose their work, their activity, so to speak. Therefore, these people never give up power. But if someone wants to work under their leadership, if they are properly oriented, they care very much and can even take less for themselves than they give to that person. What is the destructive force for these people? It's money. They should aspire to power and learn to be decent, but they shouldn't be bought with money, because these people get money simply from having power itself. That means if there's power, a person will always have money, but they shouldn't sell themselves out, you see. If money becomes more important for them, they start embezzling everything and lose their power. Their reputation is destroyed, and they lose everything in life. They might even end up in prison. Therefore, these people must be decent, first and foremost, in terms of their relationship with money. It's very important to understand this. They should also behave themselves properly in general. They should be resilient and have no corrupt connections. For those in leadership positions, it's important not to have corrupt connections because they destroy a person's reputation and they cease to be a leader for others. The image of the elder loses its power. There are different ways to manage. For example, you can manage by intimidating people. This is the lowest form of management. You can manage through laws. This is the middle way. And you can manage through your reputation and self-respect. If a person has a kind attitude towards people, an impeccable reputation, and there is very strong faith in them, then this is the highest form of management, and this was the method used by Suvorov. He knew all his soldiers by name and loved them very much as they loved him. Alexander the Great used the same method, and that's why his warriors were invincible. No one could ever defeat them. Their unity was colossal. What they show in movies now, in Hollywood films about Alexander the Great, doesn't correspond to reality at all. Alexander the Great, according to chronicles, slept on damp ground, never robbed, never took wealth for himself. His goal was the glory of his homeland. He wanted to elevate his country and wanted fair governance throughout all the territory he conquered. The soldiers had endless faith in him because he was an ideal personality in terms of human qualities. He loved and cared for everyone. The film shows him finishing off soldiers, but this never happened. I studied this specifically. I watched the movie. Everything they showed there was nonsense. Modern cinema often doesn't know how to do it right, so they show some nonsense, not understanding that a person cannot be successful if they behave like that. How did Alexander the Great defeat his enemies? Just imagine one battle. King Darius had an army of 350,000. Alexander the Great had an army of 40,000. Can you compare? Almost 10 times more. 10 people against one. Is that a normal battle? But Alexander the Great arranged his army in a wedge formation. He himself stood at the front of this wedge and went straight forward. He found where Darius was and went there. With this wedge, he split the entire army, reached Darius, and killed him. The entire enemy army was completely demoralized. Because it was a paid army, there was no one to pay them now, no king. Who would pay for the battle? And that's how the battle ended. It didn't last long. Cool. A man who is not trusted by the soldiers could never do such an act. No one would follow him into the thick of the enemy. You see, it's all very precarious. This is only possible as the result of personal qualities. Or what about when Suvorov took Ismail? This was the only battle in history when there were more soldiers inside the fortress than outside. Usually the superiority should be about 6 times greater outside to take a fortress. But the warriors outside were fewer in number, and still they took the fortress. This was an unprecedented event. No one could have predicted such a thing. I'm telling you about the qualities of the second type of people. Some people ask me, Dr. Torsunov, can I start my own business? Yes, you can. You're the second type. You are a natural leader, but it's too early for you to start a business. Why, Dr. Torsunov, I have the opportunity to take a loan. I know my business. Let me tell you a very important thing, my dears. In order to start your own business, you must have the strength for it. What does this strength consist of? The first thing to do, you have to master the specialty. When Peter the Great decided to build his fleet, he first went to the shipyard himself. He learned, saw how everything works, how to build ships. Then he organized this construction, and only then he started managing the fleet. You see, first, a leader must understand the area of business in which they want to work, its specifics. They should work for someone in this area and see how everything works. This is the first step. The second step, when you understand how everything works, you should check if you're ready by fate to be a senior or not. You should start a small business. First, you have to test how everything works on a small scale. You should watch, are people drawn to you or not? Do people obey you or not? Then, when you've worked everything out on a small scale, you should gradually increase the number of staff and watch. Can you manage a large number of people? Can you inspire them? Can you communicate with them properly? Do you have an understanding of people? Are you able to choose those who will not deceive you? Or is this not your ability? This is how a person gradually becomes successful. Got it? And in fact, a loan has nothing to do with it. If a person starts with a loan, they hire the wrong people, they don't have a working system, they don't know how to conduct business. They just spend money on mistakes. People come, take responsibilities, and leave. All money is wasted, and then they end up in prison or spend the rest of their life paying off debts. The reason is mindlessness or incorrect understanding of how a person of the second category develops. You should follow the rules I've explained, otherwise the result will be bad. I have entire seminars for managers and for leaders. There are many lectures. I usually give them in Moscow and St. Petersburg. If you are a leader, you should listen and study everything before starting your business, even if you think everything is going to be great. Study first, then act. One man came up to me and said, Dr. Torsunov, I believe I'm a leader by nature, but for some reason I have a problem with management. And the problem is that the person cannot punish people. This can happen because there are 4 types of leaders. The first type is a person who manages the process. That means they can set up a management scheme, they can set up production, but they cannot punish people. This is a process manager. The second type of manager is a people manager. For example, Chapayev is a people manager. He works with people. He punishes them. They obey him. This is the second type of management. The third type of manager is a process ideologist. A process ideologist is a scientist. This is a manager who can be a scientist. There are 2 options there, but what does this manager do? They manage designers. Let's say there's a design bureau. They develop how a factory should work. And this person manages these people. They are an ideologist by nature and a manager at the same time. Got it? And the fourth category is like Fumanov in the film about Chapayev, an ideologist of people, a political officer. He doesn't command people, but explains why they need to fight and give their life for the homeland. In Soviet culture, there were always 2 managers in any production. One was an administrator, the other an ideologist. This is how it should be. According to the Vedas, management should be performed in this way. Can you imagine? How did they know? That's why management was great during socialist times, because some people inspired people to work while others commanded them. Those who inspired had no right to command them. They just explained to them why to work, for a better future, and so on. People were inspired. They established moral standards of behavior, scolded them for divorces, reprimanded them for immoral behavior. This is also management. These were managers and leaders. And others just monitored the production process, fired people, demoted them, withheld bonuses, and so on. There are 2 categories of management in total. You see, categories don't change. If you are such a manager, you won't be able to make yourself different. Therefore, if you want to run your own business but can't manage and command people, can't punish them, then most likely you are not a leader. Because even a process manager can still punish people, but if you have an ideological approach to management, then you can't punish people. You know very well how to develop a company. You have an understanding of how to communicate with authorities, how to sign laws, and how to network in high-level circles. You can do all that, but you can't punish people. Therefore, you need another person who can do this. Let them be your subordinate, not your partner. 2 partners is the most dangerous type of management. You should always hire someone who is ready to be subordinate. Pay them a decent salary, but don't give the power to anyone. Because when you have your own company and there are 2 leaders, at the moment of success, each of you will start pulling in your own direction. At the moment of success, the enterprise will be destroyed because the organization was wrong from the very beginning. Sharing power is the most difficult type of management. It is possible, though. There are large corporations where power belongs to many people, but this requires very high intelligence and personal development of people so that they always resolve all issues peacefully. As a general practice, this is very difficult. There's no guarantee that the person you deal with will be exactly like that, although it is possible. Are you not tired? Is everything okay? The next category of people are those with second light burning at full capacity. The first one is turned off and the third is half lit. What is their life concept? If for the first type it's the idea that knowledge will save the world, for the second, proper management will save the world, then the third, prosperity will save the world. In other words, they want people to be happy by having a stable life. The lower traffic light is connected with eternity, the second with love, the first with knowledge. That means they strive for eternity and provide eternity to people. How? They fill them with wealth, luxury, and necessities. These are businessmen. There are scientists, there are managers, there are businessmen. They also kind of lead people, but their leadership is completely different. If a manager creates laws in their production, creates rules and guarantees people stable work, a businessman doesn't guarantee anything to people, makes no rules or only minor rules. They bring people together to make money. Once they've made money, they either part ways or continue working, but even when they command people, they just motivate them. That means a manager says, "You're behaving wrong, you'll be fired." But businessmen don't talk like that. They say, "Listen, do you want to work with me? Do you want to earn money? So behave like this. Don't want to? Leave." Everything for them revolves around money. They don't worry. You can't offend a businessman. You can offend managers, but not businessmen. Let's say you're yelling at them. They say, "Why are you yelling? If you don't want to, don't work with me." And that's it. You understand? For a businessman, everything is connected with wealth, and they build very good relationships with people. When a child of this category is born, when a leader is born, how do they look at everyone, remember? Strictly, seriously, they are the boss. But when someone is a businessman, it's a completely different story. From a very young age, they look at everyone as friends. Now we're going to be friends. A small child starts smiling at everyone, making eyes at them, trying to be the center of attention. When small children start playing, a scientist looks at everyone, how they play, how to do it right. When they play football, a scientist says, "This is wrong. You need to play like this to win." A manager says, "We will play like this forward, follow me." And a businessman is friends with everyone. They say, "Yes, we'll do it this way and that way, everything will be fine." The main thing for them is that everyone is friends with each other and not to lose relationships. If power is important for a manager, truth is important for a scientist, then relationships are important for a businessman. They live for relationships, therefore this child is friends with everyone. For example, let's say they start collecting stamps. And since everyone is friends with them, they eventually end up having the best stamps, but they don't buy anything. All stamps somehow come to them, in some way. It's unclear, an incomprehensible thing. That means at some point they had all the best stamps around, but no one knew how it happened. Everyone is willing to help them with these stamps. Why? Because they love everyone, it's their nature, they are generous by nature, they like to feed people, take care of them, and like to help everyone. But they always know their benefit in this. Either friendship is a benefit for them, or a person can do something else for them. People of this category, by fate, by their nature, are allowed to make profit. Managers are not allowed to make profit. They must act correctly, honestly, on principles, and God Himself gives them money through power. Scientists get money because they help people. But businessmen have the right to fool people a little bit. And God gives them such abilities. They can tell things to a person in such a way that it seems like pure truth. But in reality it is truth, but not pure truth. There is some clever plan that no one understands. And that's how they earn their money. Through heartfelt kindness to people, through the desire for them to be happy. That means greed is a flaw of this category of people. Through greed they go bankrupt. They go bankrupt if they deceive, lie, and profit from people. But if, on the contrary, they tend to care for others and direct their cunning towards the common good, they prosper. What is the guarantee of prosperity for these people? It's their reputation in trade relations. Ancient merchants had such a law called grind into powder. What does this mean? It means that they wrote in chalk on the wall those with whom they work and never deceive anyone. If one of those people somehow deceived, they erased them from the wall. That means this person had lost their reputation. This still happens in India with these traders. I have an acquaintance from India who trades in precious stones, and once someone deceived him for a large sum. I asked, "Will you report him to the police?" He said, "No." I asked, "Well, what will happen then?" He said, "You know, here in Jaipur, all gemstone traders are like one family." He said, "I also know many traders throughout India. I'll just inform them about what happened. And after that, this person cannot make a deal with anyone." That means he simply perishes. You can steal, but only once. The person is warned that it's better to return the money. Most often they do return everything back. But if they don't, then this mechanism is launched again. Everyone is informed about what happened, and they won't be able to work anymore. No one will work with them. That's it. This person has a black mark on their reputation. This mark will never be washed away. This person simply goes bankrupt, and that's all. Such rules existed everywhere before as well. Now they try to protect business through laws, but it works poorly. They followed this rule and were greatly protected by it in life, and it saved them. The qualities of a person give them the opportunity to develop and thrive. These 4 categories I'm talking about are based on intelligence. You see, the intelligence of a scientist is their self-control. They are very kind toward people and want to help them. They have a strong character, honesty, humility, and so on. These are qualities of personality. A ruler, too, becomes successful based on qualities. By nature, they are a caring person who takes care of others. They are brave, strong, decisive, firm. People feel safe with them. They have a very strong ability to be an authoritative superior, and they are strong in their relations with power. By the way, people of the 2nd category highly respect superiors. They deeply respect them. For them, respect for superiors is a law. In comparison, people of the 3rd category generally respect all people. They love people. People of the 1st category respect sanctity and spiritual law. If superior violates sanctity, a person of the 1st category may point it out. A person of the 4th category is one where the lower intelligence center works at full capacity, and the middle one at half. This is a person who wants to do what they love the most in life, and they want to do this for the benefit of others. Doing what they love is the lower intelligence center. This is their stability, and this person is focused on themselves. The upper 3 categories are considered leaders in society. They are focused on others. The lower category is also a good person. They just want to engage in what they love. What qualities does this person have from birth? When a person of the 4th category is born, there is always a fire of curiosity in their eyes. They want something that no one else knows yet. If you give them a constructor, they will immediately start building. If you give them any little pieces, they will move them around. This person is searching for their favorite activity, and they become passionate about it. The qualities of character that are important for them are hard work, a strong passion for what they do, and respect for superiors, respect for those they are subordinate to. These qualities, along with a strong passion for their work, make them successful people. For example, Michelangelo was such a person. It's not accurate to say that people of the 4th category are inferior. These people can be very successful in life, even popular. Michelangelo painted and made statues, but he lived to 94 and never got sick, even though he breathed marble dust all the time and worked 14 hours a day. All professions are necessary and all professions are important. And in every field you can be respected, popular, and wealthy. If we talk about specialties, they can belong to different categories. For example, a doctor, if they provide knowledge to people, that's the 1st category. If it's a chief physician, that's the 2nd category. If they sell medicine or organize a medical marketing network, that's the 3rd category. If they simply treat people and are a good doctor, that's the 4th category. You understand? An artist may paint to give people knowledge. Like Rorik, that's the 1st category. They may paint to show the power of authority. For example, the entire hermitage is filled with power. Painted battles, noblemen, the whole hermitage is only on this topic. That's the 2nd category. An artist may paint to sell paintings. That's the 3rd category. Or they may paint so that everyone is simply happy. The Russian Museum is filled with such paintings. Ivazovsky, Repin, Shishkin, and so on. That's the 4th category. Understand? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Is your head a bit foggy? So should we answer questions or talk a little more? The idea is this. If a person's intelligence is well developed, they treat others kindly. Kindness is a criterion of a person's development. If a person is evil, unkind, it means they cannot act according to their nature. Only a wise, developed person can act according to their nature. Therefore, kindness will save the world. I want to tell you something else so that you don't get confused. I've explained the constitution of intelligence to you. There are only 4 categories. You might ask, can the lower and upper lights both shine brightly or halfway at the same time? No, they cannot. Only this sequence can happen, which I've told you about. The nature of intelligence doesn't change. It is built from life to life, for many lives. You can change your husband, but you cannot change your nature. You can change your abilities, but a person's nature remains dormant until they start on the path of self-improvement, until they start living for others, for the good of others. A person won't be able to unlock their nature. Nature is based on the activity of intelligence. When a person finds a goal in life, when they feel their mission in life, when they understand the importance of this mission, only then do they realize their nature. You might ask, what specialty? Well, that's already the qualities of the mind. A person has intellectual characteristics. A person has feelings or emotions. They have a mind, and they have intelligence. Emotionally, a person can also be of 4 categories. If a person's emotions work very optimistically and strongly, such a person is called a sanguine. They are always cheerful, joyful, happy, and active. That's their emotional nature. It doesn't mean they're a leader. It's just how their emotions work. Such a person can be the president of a country or just a worker. It doesn't matter. By these characteristics, you cannot judge a person's nature. It's just emotional activity. Emotional activity of the second category. If a person is active but not cheerful, they are a choleric. They are restless, always stirring things up, but there are always problems with them. A choleric by nature is a bit intrusive in communication. They need a lot of attention. Next, a passive and optimistic person is a phlegmatic. They are kind, good, but slow. And if they are passive and pessimistic, they are melancholic. A melancholic is like Piero. Malvina is lost, my bride, a sad figure. Pinocchio is a sanguine. He's active, cheerful, happy, always bothering everyone with his joy, tormenting everyone around. The hasty one is a choleric. As the fairy tale says, the hasty one was hungry, swallowed a cold iron. Who else? A phlegmatic, probably. I know it all, right? Well, okay. Piero is a melancholic. There is also the nature of the mind. The intellectual nature is the specialty. Remember, a person can have an intellectual nature, a doctor, a tendency to be a doctor, a tendency to be, for example, a shoemaker or a ballerina or someone else. All these specialties are not a person's nature. For example, if a person wants to be a doctor, says, I want to heal people, that is not the person's nature. Yesterday, someone came to ask me a question. He said, I want to open a sewing workshop, I want to sew. I said, you won't sew, you will manage those who sew. You understand? This is intellectual nature, wanting to sew. You may want to sew, but you will end up managing people, because by nature, you are a leader. You start sewing, but it will end with you managing, because that's your nature. You understand? That's how a person's mind works. As it develops, it becomes a manager. Or the person starts managing everyone, but it ends up simply being business, because their nature is not a leader, but an entrepreneur. They motivate everyone. Let's earn, guys. Why manage? Why bother? Got it? Don't confuse intellectual abilities that reveal themselves at the beginning of a person's development. As they step out of a hobby, they start to feel where they are more effective in what activity. That's a doctor, or a programmer, or someone else, you know? These are intellectual abilities, not nature. A person's nature is, for example, if you're a programmer, you will have one option, the scientific process of programming. It's like this young person says, should I teach yoga or program? What should I do? It's the same thing, you understand? Because whether you teach yoga or program, it's the activity of a scientist. That's the nature of this person of the first category. Got it? And for what purpose, for example, does he program? For the benefit of the homeland. And that is already a mission. When a person is fulfilling their mission, their intelligence is activated, and that means their nature is revealed. If a person created a company to build a temple, it means their nature has been revealed. But if they created the company just to make money, that means they are at the second level, at the level of their abilities, you understand? Only when a person gives themselves to others does their mission in life activate. Then they will be able to act actively, joyfully, for a long time, and work with love, and they will never get tired of it because this is the activity of intelligence. Intelligence itself is the source of happiness, but the mind gets exhausted. For example, a person works for money, works like a horse, and thinks, God, when will this end? Why? Because the source of inspiration hasn't been activated. But if a person works to raise the country, to build a temple, to make life better for others, then they don't get tired. They can't be tired because they've activated themselves differently. Do you understand? This is important to understand. Therefore, you can't artificially work happily. It's impossible. As long as money is more important than people, you won't be happy in your work. It's simply impossible. You might say, Dr. Torsunov, get me right. I need to buy an apartment. I have a mortgage. I understand everything. Of course, there are serious reasons why a person thinks money is more important right now. Just know this also reflects your level of development, because if you were more developed and you needed to pay the mortgage, you would still think about people, and the mortgage would still be paid. You understand? Here's an example. A man works, and he can have two possible mindsets. The first option, he wants to get paid, and that's why he works. And the second option, he just helps people. Now I have a question. If a person helps others, are they not going to get paid? Some people think they won't. Some think you need to want a salary, and then they'll give it to you. You need to assert your rights, and then they'll give it to you. But if you just work joyfully, they won't give you anything. They'll take advantage of you. This is incorrect thinking. Why? Because only fools get taken advantage of. If a person has a strong sense of self-esteem, works joyfully and gets deceived, they'll cheerfully say, "Goodbye, my love, goodbye," and find another job, and work joyfully there until they find a good boss. That's it. Why work with fools? If this person is a leader and can't be trusted, and you want your salary from them, whether you want it or not, they will deceive you. So there's no advantage in wanting a salary. Some people think that controlling the situation helps, but just work joyfully for the people. Be worthy. You'll get what's yours, no matter what. That's the right path in life. But if you can't do that, and you're still drawn to the golden key, that's also fine. That's your level of development. Live calmly, work, earn your money, but don't forget to work on yourself. Develop, learn to do exercises, learn to pray, learn to serve others. Eventually the time will come, and you'll be inspired by serving others. Love for people will inspire you someday, and then you'll be able to be successful in life. How is success achieved in this case? I'll explain to you now. When a person rises to the platform of intelligence, three things start changing in their life very quickly. The first thing, their status in life changes because a person on the platform of intelligence changes their character traits. Imagine a person at work, for example, responsible, hardworking, kind, diligent. All these character traits come from intelligence. But isn't he going to be appreciated? Are the people at the top fools or something? They see, oh, a good person, let's promote him. They'll give him a raise. You understand? Or not? Or do you think a good person will always be sweeping the floor with a broom? This kind of thinking can exist among people, but it's outdated thinking, incorrect. The world is built differently. All the best people, the best qualities are visible to everyone. Do you understand? By the way, why are there so many unmarried men? Well, if all women had good character traits, there would be no unmarried men. You understand? The problem is that it's impossible to find a good woman, meaning the issue lies in character traits. There are plenty of women, but it's hard to find one with a good character. The same applies to why women are not married. There are plenty of men, but there's no one to marry, because their character is bad. So you see, it's the same at work. If you take any employer with subordinates, raise your hand. The main problem is this: there are no normal people, no one to work with, right? Once you find one decent person, it's already a win. What, are you going to belittle them? No, you'll promote them. Why? Because such people are rare. This is the essence, you understand? A person as an individual develops, their intelligence is activated, they will never be at the bottom. They always rise, their status immediately starts to grow in society. Remember, this is the fastest way to success. Simply change yourself as a person. Next, this is the first thing that changes in them. The second, when a person starts working on themselves and their intelligence is activated, they stop being weighed down by their problems. People with weak intelligence are always in grief, sadness, and fuss. A person with strong intelligence rises above grief, sadness, and fuss and becomes a wise person, a sage. They become good specialists in their field. Why? Because their intelligence works actively. They understand everything that is happening. They become very professional. This is the second quality. And the third quality that manifests through them is luck. What does intelligence do? It fills a person with happiness. What does happiness do to a person? It makes them beautiful. How do you determine if a person has a lot of happiness or little? If a person is beautiful, it means they have a lot of happiness. If they are not beautiful, it means they have little. A person who is filled with happiness is always beautiful. What does a person look like when they properly set themselves up in life? What does a successful person look like? How do they relate to people, to their work? It doesn't matter. What specialty they have, whether it's first, second, or third category, it doesn't matter. Such a person will always be successful, always prosperous, and will always have money. What does this person look like? There is a good song that describes such a person. They love life and step from work, not exhausted but with joyful tiredness, with a sense of satisfaction. Means they have worked on their favorite work, and they walk home tired, enjoying life. They love nature. They love people. This is a developed person. Even if they don't know that God exists, they say love is the most important thing. That's fine for such a person too. But what is the idea? That this is a successful person. They forget about themselves. They walk home tired from work. They love to make friends selflessly. They love nature, love the land and the sea, love their wife, and so on. They care for everyone, endure everything, forgive everyone. This is how a person should live. This is where their strength lies. What does an undeveloped person look like? Someone who can't get on the platform of their purpose. They look like this. They are overwhelmed with worries. They are in a rush. They have no free time. This is if they are on the platform of their abilities, working according to their abilities. How do they look? They are very busy with work. They have no free time. They strive to be a good specialist. They are getting an education. They often have many financial debts because their life's goal is still wealth. If a person strives to serve others, why would they need a mortgage? Everything will be provided by God. Everything will be fine. And that's how it works, you see. But if a person believes only in their own labor, they usually fall into serious financial slavery. They have little free time. What is the relationship like with the wife usually? It's businesslike. You give to me, I give to you. Or more precisely, first you give to me, then I'll give to you. If you're like this, then I will too. This is a sign that they lack inner development, that their inner strength is insufficient. People resent each other, get angry, and that's how their life goes. If a person is even lower on the level of intelligence development, usually the man has bad habits and the woman has depression. The woman usually overworks while the man does nothing. She doesn't know what to do with him. Should I kill him or forgive him or leave him? People think they are just unlucky in life, but in reality the cause is not luck, but the strength of their soul. Remember, every person has trials in life. You think I don't? I do too. But I go through them differently than many of you. I simply sit down, start praying, and think about God in my heart. And gradually, I go through 3 stages. The first stage, calmness, knowing that everything will be fine with this event. The second stage, knowledge. I already know what to do with it, or I can influence the situation. The third stage, the situation changes. That's it. It's not that I sit all day. I do this every day, little by little. And that's how difficulties of fate are overcome with the memory of God. This is how a person should live. This is written in all scriptures, not just in one, but in all. This is the principle of correct living. You see, a person needs to live like this, and also they need to devote a lot of time to maintaining their health. Today I did some yoga that not many of you could do. I did each exercise for 40 minutes, a total of 4 exercises, more than 2 hours. And I did each exercise together with a prayer. I do the exercises and pray at the same time. I bend forward, then I arch back, then I do a headstand, a shoulder stand, and so on. And there are just 4 main exercises. The stillness of the body heals a person. And during this time, my faith is strongly worked through all bad events. If I feel pain when remembering something, pain when thinking about something, it means there is bad fate in that place. I think of God, I recall the event. I think of God mostly, but with my thoughts, I direct the power of the prayer to this event. So I pray to God, I think of Him, rejoice in Him, and simultaneously watch and observe what happens with this event. It shatters and peace appears, knowing that everything will be okay. Then the influence and so on. Every day I always fast until lunchtime. That is, when the sun rises, that is the best time to cleanse the body. I am a glutton by nature. I love to eat. I have a strong digestive fire, a strong appetite, so it's difficult for me to fast for the whole day. But I fast every day until lunch. This is the best time when a person heals. When the sun rises, it rises before noon. At this time, I don't eat anything. In the evening, I only eat fruit and milk. From 8 p.m. to 1 p.m., fasting every day. This is enough for the body to cleanse itself. That is, fasting is an element of longevity. Fasting, static exercises, and every 6 days I run 16-17 kilometers. These are the 3 pillars of my health, what I do for my health. If there is an opportunity, I sometimes work out in the gym, doing pull-ups, lifting weights. If there is such an opportunity, I don't neglect this kind of activity either. That's it. That's what I do to maintain my health. I don't feel sick. I don't know what it means to be ill at all. It's simply because I do these activities. Every day I try to pray for at least 2 hours. I find the time, and it's better to do continuous prayer. And life flows happily. But you have to gradually come to this. A person cannot start living like this immediately. It requires development, strength, and time to spend on it. Move in this direction. Today I've given you a lot of information concisely about the structure of a person and their nature. Let's discuss this a little from your perspective. For example, you might ask, why is this happening to me? What's wrong with my development? How is my development progressing? I will tell you, and everyone else will understand about themselves as well. This way we will practically master the topic together. So ask your questions. You may ask, young lady.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I've been listening to your lectures for 2 years. They've been very helpful. I have people I can share with, but there are times when they are far away, and I have no contact with them, and you always help me. So, at any moment, I can mentally reach out to you and find the answer to my questions.
When I was little, when I wasn't loved, I was very sad. I wanted everyone to love me, absolutely everyone.
I feel that way too, actually.
It seems the Lord fulfilled that wish. Many people say, thank you, the Lord is very merciful. What is your question?
My question is this. You mentioned that there are people who constantly study something, read, turn to different lecturers, but in practice they don't implement much, or maybe they don't implement anything at all. This is my issue as well. I have a similar problem with actually putting things into practice.
What do you understand by practice? Let's talk about a practical example.
If we touch on personal life and family, it's the relationship with my parents. I listen and read about how to do everything right, but then a situation arises in the family, and I don't implement this knowledge.
When I used to train for high jump in the gym as a child, you had to gradually raise the bar. If you set it too high, you'll just knock it down with your head. It's impossible to do it all at once. You understand? Let's break down the sequence of high jump steps in a person's ability to overcome their fate. Let's break it down, okay? The first thing that happens with a person is they can only listen to lectures. They will spend all their time just listening to lectures because they need to absorb the knowledge and they won't be able to do anything else. This is the first stage of human development. Don't be afraid of it. It's normal. A person is just absorbing knowledge. One person told me, Dr. Torsunov, thank you for your lectures. I just can't fall asleep. I listen to them all the time. Another person said, Dr. Torsunov, thank you for your lectures. I turn them on and I sleep so well. So this is a sign that the person cannot live without lectures. They live in the lecture. It means they are nourished by knowledge, and this knowledge transforms all their existence. The second stage, a dream emerges, a strong desire to change their life, but there's no strength yet. So, at first, the person is just interested in listening, then they want to live this way, they have a strong desire, but no strength yet. The third stage, the person begins to do something with themselves, to change themselves, and eventually reaches the fourth stage. The fourth stage is friendship. The person meets people who are on the same path, and they begin to communicate with them. The fifth stage. At the fifth stage, the person begins to change their way of life. After communicating with people, their way of life gradually changes. This reaches the point where they also change their activity. First, the way of life changes, then the activity. As soon as a person starts changing their activity, they start gaining strength. After this, the strength gradually comes to influence their husband or wife. So first, the way of life and work change. Only then can a person influence their husband or wife. When a person can change their relationship with their loved one, several years may pass since they started working on themselves. Not 1 or 2 years, but several. After this, they gain the strength to change their child's life. And they start changing their child's life after this. And only after seeing that they can change their child's life can they influence the life of their parents. And when they are able to change the life of their parents, they can change the life of their distant relatives. And after that, if they can change the lives of distant relatives, this person can confidently be considered a mentor for all. That is, they can change the life of any person. Did you jump too high?
Well, I was raised this way. My parents listened to me. They've always listened to me. They learn from me.
There's a reason for this. The reason is that you were born into a family of the first category scientists, that is, people who seek the truth. You also have leadership abilities. What does your father do?
When he was younger, he ran a business. He was a leader. Now he works for someone else.
Still, look, you have a different nature. You are a leader by nature. A leader, but of an ideological nature. That is, you lead people, not processes, but people. Therefore, your practice is to create activities that will save people, give them knowledge, and change their lives. That's your practice if you want to do something. What's your specialty?
Like many people, I studied because I got into a budget program. It was in the field of service. It was called Hotel and Restaurant Management.
You were in management, right?
No, that's about his university.
Where did you study?
I'm still studying because I didn't work in my field.
Do you have a husband?
I'm 24 years old.
That's very young, right? It's still early to get married, right?
Well, not really early.
All right, my dear, this is your nature as a leader. You are meant to lead. The same restaurant business is also good for you. You manage something to help people develop. Even, for example, hotels. Let it be a hotel, but you give people the opportunity to develop in some way there. And you will enjoy it. That is, any activity that develops people where you care about them, that is your nature. Let's move on to another person.
Thank you so much.
You there?
Dr. Torsunov, I'm new to your lectures. I recently came across them due to family reasons. May I ask a small question?
There's another reason. People of your kind encounter people like me only as a last resort, when fate is already putting pressure. Then the person no longer looks at the reviews on the internet. They just go and listen because it helped others. Because the knowledge I give is very hard to penetrate for people with a high or very high social status. The reason is that it severely limits intelligence. The person becomes somewhat blind to the way of existence they have received as a result of that status, you understand? That is the main reason why we haven't crossed paths before.
My problem is that 2 months ago, my husband left me. We lived together for 21 years. The problem is that in my life, the more I give all of me to people, the easier they turn away, wipe their feet, and go to others.
There is a reason for that. Giving all of you to people doesn't mean humiliating yourself. You need to understand how to work with your sense of self-worth. If a person dedicates themselves to people, they must also understand that they also should educate them. Love always has two sides. Remember this. It never exists with just one side. Love means that if you start helping other people, start caring for someone, know that you will definitely have to discipline this person. Because at first, when you start caring for someone, they become a bit impudent from it. That means that two processes happen in parallel. The first process, they become impudent, and the second, deep gratitude appears in their heart for the fact that you live for them. And for this gratitude to appear in their heart, you need to discipline them a little, and to do it right, the Lord must be higher for you than those you love. That means that you shouldn't depend on these people so much that your care leads to your humiliation. In other words, when a person becomes impudent, you'll have to humble yourself. You care for someone, they became a bit impudent. You'll have to humble yourself because you believe in them. But if your faith is higher than the person, you don't depend on the person, then at the moment when they become impudent, they will see your strength. Your strength will be in your self-esteem or independence from them. At this moment, gratitude will burst out from them, not rudeness. This is your key mistake in your entire life, but all of this can be fixed. We live eternally.
And regarding family relationships, what can you advise me about my son? He got married. I have a grandson, but I don't see him. That means my daughter-in-law is also against me. My husband left, my son left. Now I'm still raising my younger one. He's 12 years old. I think it's not far off when there will be another daughter-in-law, and it will be the same. Why do people so easily give up on me? I can't understand. And what should I do with my family? Should I fight for my husband? Will he return to me, or is it all pointless?
The whole reason is that someone has put an evil eye on you.
I don't think so.
No?
No, absolutely not.
But you're telling it as if everything is completely hopeless.
Well, my life is really difficult. We lived together for 21 years. I don't understand why I'm drawn to this person. I survived clinical death, and I've done many things in life sacrificing myself completely.
What do you want from me?
Advice, probably.
Then why are you speaking and not me? Let's start with the fact that you don't know the laws of this world, and that's why this world has trampled you. It made you helpless. You don't believe in the justice of this world because you don't know how it works. If a person starts a car and doesn't know that they need to put gas in it, they might become completely disappointed in this car and think it will never drive. But this doesn't mean it doesn't drive. This is their illusion. You don't know how the power of human attractiveness and self-esteem works. All people depend on happiness. Your son is strongly connected to you. But because you live for your son, live for your husband, and you believe in them, therefore your son gets proud of himself in his relationship with you, and when you call him, it's hard for him to talk to you. It's hard because dealing with a dependent person is very difficult, you understand? So what's the root problem in such situations? It lies in the fact that a person doesn't understand at all how to make a loved one happy, how to make relationships mutual. For this you need to have a power source. For this you need to put gas in the car so it can drive towards love for people. This gas is the relationship with God. You should serve God, pray to Him. When a person fills themselves with this power, they become strong. And when you care for your son and he starts to become proud of himself, he will face your self-esteem and strength. And when self-esteem and strength appear in the mother's heart, her maternal love becomes needed again. A humiliated person will never be in demand because they are unattractive. Nobody needs them. People need only a joyful and self-sufficient person. Your problem is that you act the same way in all relationships. You have a very strong, selfless heart. You give yourself, you help other people, but gradually two things happen. The first one, they start to become proud of themselves. And the second one, you lose faith in these relationships before getting a response. You don't understand the laws of how it all works. What's the mistake? Well, let's say your son doesn't call. Fill yourself with happiness from within. The connection between you exists. It's very strong. Remember when your son was 10, 11 years old, he asked you many questions. He learned a lot about the world through you and was very connected to you. This connection hasn't gone anywhere. It remained. He is still in this connection with you. But when a person is humiliated, nobody needs them. They are repulsive. It's hard to communicate with them, hard to live with them. Fill yourself with God, start spiritual life, start praying. Fill yourself with the power of self-sufficiency, and then your son will need you. He will feel the connection with you himself. He will call you. You will talk to him, already feeling yourself good and self-sufficient. It's not like jumping with happiness whenever he calls you. You feel happy anyway, but you're also ready to help him with something and so on. And then everything will start to restore in your life. Your belief that your last relationship that you're investing in now will also be trampled is just foolishness, and that's all. You will see how everything really works. Everyone needs a self-sufficient and beautiful person, but nobody needs a humiliated one. Why is a person humiliated? Because they don't know the purpose of human life. You should know that you need all these relationships with your children to realize that you must become attached to God, because this is the purpose of your life. You live endless lives on this earth only for this purpose. And that's why in this world everything is arranged, so that if this connection doesn't occur, your life becomes worse and worse and worse. And everything in this world is arranged so that all laws direct a person towards higher relationships, towards higher truth, towards sublime feelings. You understand? They direct a person towards the depth of inner life, and when a person achieves this, they become very strong in relationships with all people. They become worthy and everything is restored in life. Your connections are not destroyed. I see your fate. I feel your son. He's such a serious person, quite influential. He knows his worth. And he simply has no time to talk about nonsense with mom. He's a serious person. He has no time. He's just busy. And you turn out to be like a second-rate product lying in a dump somewhere, like already used up material. Why did this happen? Because you went the wrong way in life. You didn't achieve the goal for which a person should live. And when you achieve it, justice will prevail and everything will be restored. All people will recognize you. They will start respecting you as a wise person, consulting with you.
And regarding my husband, what should I do? Can you advise? I don't understand.
Because you have the wrong faith, that's why you don't understand. If a person believes in a person, the family always falls apart. There are no chances. You believe in a person, believe in your husband, believe in a relationship, but you must believe in God. As long as you believe in a relationship, it becomes a stumbling block for your fate. You should know that sometimes a person believes in another person so much and spoils them so much with their faith that most likely there's no way back. Why? Because the situation is badly screwed up. The person was deeply humiliated in this relationship. They expect too much from another person and are mentally dependent on them. You understand? And therefore, that's not how the question should be put. You need to find yourself in life first, and then you will find everything else. But speaking about family, most likely, there is a 70% chance that you will have another person, much better, even though you think this person is very good. And 30% chance that this one will return. But first you need to find yourself. And now your condition is called blind faith in a person. It is a hopeless state. It's impossible to get anything back while a person believes in people. They will all turn away from them. Look, in such a state, a person can't live their own life anymore. They only live with the image of an angel who was next to them, and only think about that person, believing in a person. That means they are defeated by fate because they have incorrect faith. They believe in relationships, believe in a person, believe in their family, in their children, in their husband who is much better than them. And this incorrect faith destroys a person's entire life.
So that means that all this recovery needs time.
It takes time, and you should understand that sometimes a person can't restore anything even if they go the path of restoration. You have to force yourself to go a different way. You should restore yourself first, and then everything else will restore itself. You can pray for your husband to return, but this prayer will lead you to two results. Either you'll get your husband back after overcoming your fate, or God will give you another one. You understand? God has plenty of men. Well, it's not about men, but about the fact that you're currently going the wrong way in life. And to return you to the right path, God acts according to His plan. He creates a situation in your life where there seems to be no way out. You're now knocking every door you can. You'll see there's no way out. All doors are closed because you're going the wrong way. You should get on the right path, and all doors will open before you. There are doors that are always open. These are your son and your grandchildren. These doors are always open. You're just approaching them in the wrong way. You're approaching as a humiliated person who depends on them. And nobody needs such a person. That's why everyone shuts their doors in front of you, because you can't give them anything. And there are doors that are almost closed. This is your husband. The reason is that you went in the wrong direction in this relationship and spoiled the person very much, and you are punished for this. Maybe he will return, but it's unlikely.
Should I recover through prayer and then accept whatever God gives?
It's not whatever God gives. He will give you a choice. At the first stage, you'll get calmness in your heart. You'll understand that everything is good in your personal life. It's already great to live like this. Usually at this stage, when everything becomes good in personal life, a person starts thinking, well, why do I need this person at all if everything is good? Such a thought appears. But you should go further. Don't fall for this thought. Then further, a relationship will be established. You'll become strong. And you'll be able to communicate with him as friends. And at the third stage, conscience will begin to manifest in his life, and he will begin to feel everything that you feel now. God will give him your feeling, and he will begin to make amends. And after that, he will have a choice either to return to you or say, I can't return anymore. As soon as he says, I can't, another person will appear in your life immediately, because when a person passes their tests, why should God torment them? Why? God torments us only so that we develop. If we have already developed, then there's no need to torment. He only wants happiness for us.
So now I should pray and have faith in God.
And also move, because you are exhausted. Your blood circulation is suffering now. Hormonal functions are suffering. You are in a long-term depression that has been lasting for 3 years. All this needs to be removed from the body. You're destroying yourself, you see.
Things aren't working out at work either. I am a manager. I have a hair salon, but I don't even have any hairdressers. And I can't hire anyone. Not because I can't, but as soon as I find someone, train them, they leave. But in general, it is like a pattern, like a vicious circle. Well, I understand you. Thank you very much.
The vicious circle has been broken. And you should feel this in your heart. You feel that our conversation gave you a way out. You've got lightness and calmness in your heart, isn't that right?
Yes. I came specially to see you. I really had to talk with you.
That is all. You should study everything in life. This is a serious thing, because often everything can be solved, but a person doesn't know the way out. Therefore, they get more and more confused. But you see, if we look from above at this whole situation, we can understand one very important thing. I'll tell you this thing now. When I was little, it was very hard for me to live because there was a difficult relationship between my parents. I'm not blaming anyone now. God made it this way so that I would develop. But at one moment, I ran from home through the snowdrifts. There was a field, a forest. We lived at the edge of the forest. The city was being built, so there was such an empty place, and I ran there. And then I fell into the snow. I was crying. Then I got on my knees, raised my hands up, and screamed. And interestingly, I was screaming not in my own voice. I screamed that I was ready to suffer and be tormented until 28 years old. But at 28, I would receive knowledge about how to live correctly. And everything in my life would change. And then I calmed down and went back. But when I was screaming, it wasn't my voice, it was God's voice. It sounded through my words. You see, when a person turns to God for help, at this moment everything changes in their life. You may not remember, but somewhere about 3 months ago you were in deep despair, and you said, "Lord, help me, I can't take it anymore." And you received this help. Do you understand how things happen? While a person relies on their own strength, nothing will happen. As soon as they understand where to get help, it definitely comes. It definitely comes, but you need to wait a little bit. It doesn't happen immediately. You should wait a little bit. Everything has its time. If any of you feel that you have no help, it means you are still holding on to your fate with your own hands and want to help yourself. A person should always help themselves, but should know how. They shouldn't try to overcome fate with their own strength, but with the forces that are meant for this. Nature is meant to make a person healthy. Good people are meant to change everything in our life, our family, work, and everything else. By the way, you should also know that you don't have such relationships, such communication that would help you with these issues. Third is God and prayer. This is all God's energy. Nature is God's energy. Good people are God's energy. Through them, God also acts. If you feel that in life you don't know what to do, Dr. Torsunov isn't around and you simply don't know, then don't go to specialists. It's better to go to good people who treat you kindly and selflessly and ask your question. You'll see that even if the person doesn't understand it at all, they will give you the right answer. And even if this person is less intellectual than you know more than they do, they will still give you the right answer, because a person always receives the right answer from the Lord. He gives it through this person. And this is amazing, you understand? And this sometimes even creates funny situations. I'll give you an example from my lecture practice. I once came across a discussion where they were sharing some amazing cases from my lectures. I thought, what amazing cases are there? One woman wrote about such a case. I'm giving a lecture. She mentally asked me a question. I immediately answer this question. She asked, I answer. She asked, I answer. Then she raises her hand and I tell her, I've been answering your questions throughout the lecture. Why are you raising your hand? But I don't remember this response. I don't remember saying this to anyone. Imagine how the Lord can act. He can say something and the person isn't even aware. I didn't hear her, didn't read thoughts, didn't answer. I didn't do any of this. This is how the Lord acts. If a person wants to help someone, then the Lord can help through their heart. Any person who is kindly disposed towards you can help you. It doesn't have to be some famous person. It can be anyone. Go to good people when you feel bad. Don't go to specialists. And you will receive help from God through a good person. That's how the Lord acts. I know for sure that this is how it works. Check it in your life. We are not defenseless. We are not alone here in this world. We just think so. And that's why we live like this. That's the problem. Okay, it was a good conversation. This is important. Your question, I hope, is related to the lecture topic, human purpose, the nature of our activity, our self-improvement.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. I have a question about the first category. How does the first category develop? And what types are there?
The development of a person proceeds classically. A man is not awakened at first. He needs to start doing morning exercises, engage in sports, practice cold water swimming. All this will activate the function of his intelligence, which is called willpower or the potential to live. This activates first. A man comes alive a little bit as a personality when he doesn't drink, doesn't chase women, and he becomes activated as a man. He's no longer studying under pressure, wants to do something in his life. He already enjoys living. He's engaged in living. For a man, this means to act. He's engaged in an activity and wants to do something interesting at this moment. This is the second stage. He thinks, well, what interesting things should I do? And he also wants to make money from this. This is, of course, his illusion, but nevertheless, he is at such a stage. During this time, he searches for an interesting occupation, finds it, and starts doing it. And when this interesting occupation leads him to simply enjoying doing something in life, he starts doing something joyfully. From this moment, he begins to understand what he can do to earn money, and money is needed. We haven't yet gotten to the first, second, third, fourth type. This is just how all people develop. The time comes, and he realizes that it's better for him to heal, better to program, or better to do something else like starting his own business and so on. Something happens that makes a person clearly understand where they can earn money, and they go into this activity. In this activity, they get tired, it's hard for them, but there is money. He can work normally, it's interesting for him, but he doesn't get any deep satisfaction from this activity. He gets tired of this occupation and there is always not enough money anyway, even though in this case he has it. He feels that he has reached a dead end in life. He feels that he doesn't want to work there even though there's money. He doesn't even need the money anymore. He thinks, what should I do next? I want to live. I want to be happy. I need my heart to open up. At this moment, he turns to spiritual knowledge. Then comes the second stage, work on oneself. The first stage is running, because a person has already been lying on the couch too long. He doesn't want to drink beer anymore, he wants to live. A person starts moving, and here comes the second breakthrough. He starts to pray, practice yoga or something else. He starts working on himself. His goal is to open his heart. The time comes and a person feels that he should live for God, for people, that he needs to forget about himself and needs to do something sublime in life. From this moment, his understanding begins to unfold. He realizes that he happens to be of the first, second, third, or fourth category.
Thank you. What types of first category people are there? You described the second well, but I have a question about the first.
Well, approximately the same. There are some people who are inclined only towards teaching. They are teachers. They work with people, explain everything to them thoroughly. They simply love to teach. They are teachers by nature. No matter what they do, what work they have, they are teachers. The second category is people who also love to work with people, but they are not teachers, they are leaders. What kind of person is this? They don't work with one person, don't explain methodology to them, but rather they call people to action. I call this category, everyone faster, everyone attack. Lenin was of this category. This is an amazing personality, and all his qualities cannot be described in words. We've just heard many discussions on this topic, but if a person could make one hand movement and the whole country would follow them, you need to understand what character qualities this person had. He didn't think about himself and his life at all. He thought about the welfare of people, and he had faith that he would save them. The whole country followed him. This is an unusual personality. We cannot imitate this. This person was of the first category, but Stalin was already in the second category. He was a ruler, a real powerful ruler who won the war. He was very strong and firm. We cannot imitate these people. We can gossip about them now, but we cannot know the power of these people because it's a mystery to us. If you want to know this, you should study them, feel their strength, know how they led the people, and so on. I'm not an atheist. I'm not glorifying communism and everything else now. I'm telling you about personalities, about people. A person can possess such power from birth, can you imagine? So the third category is a scientist. They are detached from people. They study processes. It's Michelangelo, for example. A scientist studies how everything works, tries to comprehend the laws of the universe. Not even Michelangelo, I made a mistake. Lomonosov belongs to this category. He was a theorist who studied laws, created these laws. The next category includes people who implement laws into life. This is an inventor. It is Leonardo da Vinci and so on. This person shares knowledge with people. There are people who create knowledge, and there are those who share knowledge with people. These are the four categories of scientists. They can work anywhere. For example, a person can be a lawyer, but how do they behave? People of the first category work with people. They consult people. People of the second category advance legal activities in science. They engage in activities that change the legal environment. People of the third category just study the laws of jurisprudence. They study these laws all their life and derive them. The fourth category reveals these laws to people. They say, look, here are these laws.
Thank you, Dr. Torsunov. I have one last question. I'm currently working in advertising, social media promotion, and searching. I found this occupation about 1.5 years ago because the money was good. And I managed to earn money. But now I realize that while I like selling to people, communicating with them, closing deals, when it comes to fulfilling obligations, I don't like it. Because of this, I want to stop doing this, leave sales altogether.
What kind of obligations?
To set up the actual advertising, to create it.
You see, you're an ideologist, a scientist by nature. You like to create a process, understand how it works, but you don't like implementing it.
I don't like it.
This means you need to engage in activities that create processes. You should sell these ideas, sell the ideas of these processes. You create a process, show how it works, and let them implement it themselves. That's their business.
Thank you, Dr. Torsunov. I understand.
Everything is excellent. Be happy. Your question, lady in white. See, she's so cheerful and happy. I said, your question. And she laughed and immediately shared happiness with everyone. This is right. This is how people should be.
Good evening, Dr. Torsunov. I have a question about the previous topic. A woman asked a question about love. If you look at all people, everyone wants love.
Well, of course, it's impossible to live without love.
Yes, Everyone wants to give and receive it. Why does it happen that when you love and trust, a person can become satiated with it and turn selfish?
Because we want love so much that when we feel love, we forget about everything and want to have it for ourselves.
I'm interested specifically from an energetic point of view. What happens? Why doesn't a person accept it? To love is normal, and they should be happy about it.
What do you mean they don't accept it? You love them, but they don't accept it.
For example, when a husband leaves after 20 years.
Well, this indicates attachment. You love someone. Let's imagine that love is a vector. For example, if people are selfless, for example, there are two holy people, then how do they love each other? They take care of each other. Love lives between them and never ends. From this point of view, a person is worthy of love, but we are all unworthy of love. Why? Because we are selfish. What does this mean? It means love creates a vector, one direction. If I love someone very much, this means that I'm hogging their love for myself. Now I'll explain to you how this happens. Yesterday, one lady approached me and I told her, "You want family and love in life so much that it's called bad family fate." She asked, "How is this expressed?" I said, "When you love someone, at first they might love you too. But since you love them so hard because you want family happiness so much, after some time you discover that they can no longer love you. Do you feel the difference between a person doesn't love and cannot love? Raise your hand who couldn't stay with someone although you wanted to because that person loved you so hard that they tortured with their love. Thus, all people on earth have this vector of love. How is it expressed? What kind of relationships? The love vector is always present. Some love harder, some can't love as much because the initiative has been taken over. And if people still stick together, then they meet only for one reason. The person who loves very much possesses very good qualities. They're great as a personality, and at the same time, they love hard. And the other person who received love couldn't handle it, couldn't love that hard, lacked the qualities. Why do they live with this person? Because that person is awesome. They are inspired by their qualities, and that's why they live with this good person. One enjoys love, the other who loves thinks, "Wow, great, I love." And the other one feels, "Good person, let them love." But what happens gradually? The one who loves becomes humiliated because they believe in the person, while the other who receives love becomes proud, saying, "I deserve 10 people like you." This person starts to become proud. Why? Because they receive love. They're almost like God, just a little short of being God. That's it. And this happens with all people. A man can receive love and be proud of himself, or a woman can. How does a man behave when he receives love? He walks around like a king. The woman grovels before a man, fawns, and she gradually loses herself. She becomes unattractive. How does a woman behave when she receives love? She's a princess. She's a queen. She says, "Don't you dare boss me around." He immediately says, "Yes, yes, yes." She's full of herself. He's jealous and afraid to lose her.
Does this mean we need to work with the direction of love or with its expression?
Working with the direction of love is nonsense. A person can never do anything with love. A person must understand that they're not God, and they can't change the vector of love. It will continue to act how it acts. You can't do anything about it. You need to do something with yourself. If you've loved God, started feeling fulfilled, you still continue to enjoy the person, love them, but at the same time, you don't lose yourself in this relationship. And gradually, over the years, the person also starts to feel your value, and the scales are tipping the other way. The person starts depending on you, and you give them love. This is in the ideal case. Usually people live together for about 7, 8, 9 years, and during this time they have two options. The first option is when a person works on themselves and the vector of love simply shifts and the opposite situation emerges. The one who was proud of themselves starts to love. This happens through crisis. At first their love seemingly ends, and then that person starts to love again because one is afraid of losing someone who took care of them for 8 years. And the other person is a little proud of themselves.
It turns into some kind of a game.
It turns into love. Why? Because we are not worthy of love. Love is divine energy. It is the Lord's spouse. You understand? We are not worthy of it. Therefore, as long as we pull it towards ourselves, this game will always exist.
I understand.
But if a person loves God, lives for Him, there is no game. They begin to care for their loved one. The vector of love stops shifting. It simply goes through 3 stages. The first stage is when gratitude towards the loved one arises in the heart, At this stage, people accept each other. And at least they go home knowing there won't be any arguments. We will rest at home, everything will be fine there because I've accepted everything about my loved one. Nothing bothers me, everything is great. It is the first drop of love. The second drop of love means that respect for the person becomes so strong that they begin to see the good in the other person rather than their own grievances. This stage of a love relationship is called respect. As in the song, I look into you as into a mirror, as into self-reflection, and I see my love in it and think about it. Let's not see the petty things in the mirror reflection. Love can be long-lasting, and life is even longer. This second stage of love is called respect. People begin to genuinely respect each other. And when they respect each other, gradually over time they begin to see and constantly remember everything brightest and deepest in each other. And this stage of love is called sincerity or faithfulness. And at this stage, great fortune comes into a person's life. They become invincible. If, let's say, you're fighting in a war and you have such a relationship with your wife, such faithfulness, such deep, pure, and bright feeling. This feeling, by the way, can arise simply from waiting. A woman waits and she becomes purified. And she becomes so sincere in the relationship that it becomes impossible to kill him. Because to kill means to violate her fate. And if she doesn't look at anyone else, she thinks about her husband and waits for him, then this asceticism practice in love becomes so strong that it's impossible to kill him. As in another song, death is not scary. We've met many times, and now again it circles above me. Do you know that people can feel death in war? The song continues, you're waiting for me and not sleeping by the child's bed, and therefore I know nothing will happen to me. Faithfulness. Such power comes from a woman and he becomes an invincible warrior. Nothing can be done to him. That's what love is. You understand?
Thank you.
This is what you should strive for. Well, there's a woman in the back.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize because I don't really have a question. I am absolutely happy after your lectures.
Oh, better not ask, or I'll ruin all your happiness now, and that's it.
Okay. I'll take this moment to say, first, I want to thank the Lord so much for the opportunity to see you. He is indeed merciful. And secondly, thank you for the opportunity to be closer to God. The only thing I want is your blessing for the right understanding of how to move forward and how to serve God.
Your specific question?
No question. Thank you for coming, for the opportunity to see you.
Remember, the most important thing about moving forward is that you can only overcome fate through love for those who love God. If a person becomes attached to someone who sincerely follows God and adopts their desire to serve, accept their path, then God reveals himself to that person very fast. The fastest way to reach God and perfection is only through love for holiness. This is the main secret, the main rule. And in this rule, the most important thing is to understand that there is a difference between a person and their faith. We believe in a person's faith, while the person doesn't necessarily have to be completely perfect. They might have some flaws in life, but if a person sincerely believes in God and moves towards Him, then by becoming attached to this faith, a person easily reaches God, you understand? Who could be the kind of person you could tune into like that? These are usually people who have decided to forget about their own life. These might be priests, monks. It's best to choose a person who has definitely lived a pure, bright life and just serve them. These are canonized people, for example, Sergius of Radonej and Seraphim of Sarov. Muslims, for example, choose the scriptures and serve them, or they serve the prophet directly in their heart. Well, you can serve Jesus Christ as the most ideal personality, who is also the Lord himself. In other words, a person should choose a personality and bow to them, love them, learn about their life, study everything, study their works, writings, think about this person, and get closer to them in their heart. Whoever we get closer to in our heart, we will definitely become closer to them. Whoever a person thinks about, they will always find a relationship with that personality. These relationships will deepen. The deeper the relationship with a holy person you have, the more God will be present in your life, the more strength, wisdom, dignity, and ability to overcome all obstacles you will have in your life. This is how this world is arranged, and this is the main value of human life, to find such relationships with holiness, with a holy person, with the Holy Scriptures. But some people are not attracted by wisdom, by the desire to love God specifically. They are first attracted by miracles. By the miracle of holiness, you understand? For example, there's always a queue in Moscow to Mother Matrona, day and night, because it's certain that if a person comes to her grave to bow and ask for help, they will receive it immediately. And you see, people think that they can only contact Saint Matrona through her grave. That's why they go there. But I tried differently. I took her image. Even though her eyes were closed, she looked at me with the eyes of her heart. And I had a dilemma. When you have a dilemma, a serious dilemma, most often you want to do what you shouldn't, because if you knew what was right, you wouldn't want to do otherwise, there would be no dilemma. Because when God's will and yours align, everything falls into place in your heart, everything is fine. But if there's a dilemma pulling you one way, while you feel that another way is right, then a person's intelligence, even of a reasonable person, becomes weak, and it becomes difficult to understand what to do. That's why everyone needs help in this world. I asked her, Matrona, I have difficulties. I have to make a choice in life. There was a serious problem. I said, should I do it this way or that way? But I asked again, maybe another way? And she told me, this way. It's like my heart just confirmed it. That means I felt joy about what I didn't want to do, the way I wanted to do. And she smiled again and said in my heart, maybe that way too. But I'm not a fool. I understood that such an option exists for fools. I understood what I should do through contact with her. And I forced myself to do it the way she had confirmed and avoided great trouble. This is how contact works. And after that I believed. We should believe in a holy person for their deeds. And the fact that she lived such a life is enough to believe in her. But all people believe in miracles. And so, when I saw that a miracle happened, she really helped me. I believed in her as a holy person. Sometimes a person needs a miracle, although miracle is not the main thing. A holy person doesn't necessarily have to perform miracles. The teacher of my teacher had such a situation. There was such a big festival in India called Kumbh Mela. Millions of people from different spiritual traditions came there. And one powerful and sublime person was sitting and praying there. And the disciple of my spiritual grandfather accidentally touched this holy person. He was sitting and praying, and that disciple passed by and touched him. And he decided to teach him a lesson. He looked at that disciple and he froze. He was just standing there and not moving. Another disciple who was walking behind him saw that his friend was not moving and that this yogi was holding him with his gaze. He just looked at him and he froze. And the second disciple went to the teacher and said, someone has frozen one of your disciples. We need to save that guy. The teacher came to this yogi and said, hello, thank you for the lesson. Please release my disciple. He won't do it again. And that one released him. And this yogi asked him, can you do that? The teacher said, no, I can't. Then what are you showing these kids, these young people? Why do you act as a teacher before them? And he answered, I can't freeze people with my gaze like you, but I can turn a drug addict into a monk. A drug addict, a person who wants nothing in life except alcohol, drugs, and women, becomes holy. This I can do, but I cannot freeze them with a gaze. And that yogi thought and said, you can do more than I can. Because what you said is much better than simply depriving a person of their freedom of choice. What's the value of a sublime person? It's that they change the lives of others. This is the greatest value, and this is what we should love a person for. Sergius of Radonej, Seraphim of Sarov, Saint Matrona, and so on. Many holy people in different spiritual traditions change people's lives, and we should love them for that, not for their ability to perform miracles. But we can't do that. We need a miracle. We need miracles to believe. This is our nature. That's the way we are. That's why they sometimes show miracles so that faith would come. That's why water turns into wine, or more precisely into grape juice. This was clarified to me by one sublime person, a Christian theologian. He said there was no wine. The word wine and grape juice are translated the same way from Aramaic, the language that Jesus Christ spoke.
Was there grape juice at the wedding too?
Yes, at the wedding it was exactly grape juice. That's another topic. And when people take communion, it's not alcohol. There's as much alcohol in that liquid as there is in kefir. They dilute it, you see. They dilute it heavily, so there's no alcohol in it at all. In the past, wine was made from grape juice, not for getting drunk. They made it as a way to preserve grape juice, because there were no refrigerators and there were no other ways to preserve it. That's why they turned it into wine, and then diluted it a lot and got grape juice, you understand? That means they diluted the wine, they concentrated it first and stored it with alcohol, and then they diluted it and got grape juice as a result. Wine wasn't made for getting drunk. People knew it was harmful to health. There are sayings of ancient saints on this topic. They said you can't drink this undiluted grape juice. Undiluted wine shouldn't be drunk at all. It destroys a person's psyche and makes them mentally ill. Study it. There is one Orthodox film called The Lost Virtue. I recommend you watch it. You can easily search for Lost Virtue on the internet and watch this film. It's all about these things, about grape juice, wine, communion, and about how Sergius of Radonej passed a law prohibiting alcohol in those days. In his time, no one who believed in God drank. You should know all this. We are not a drinking nation, as some think now. We used to be a sober nation since ancient times. It's only recently that we've been corrupted. This is incorrect thinking. People were invincible because they lived very nobly. They didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do all these foolish things that people do now. People had the right way of life. Your question.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. Hello, everyone. I want to ask about yesterday's lecture. We talked about the purpose of life, and you told us about those stages that destroy a woman when she goes down the wrong path. Currently, as I see and feel that I've gone through them, that means I threw myself into work and eventually quit it. I lost interest. I was getting tired and quit it. Now I have a new job, but it doesn't bring pleasure.
Are you married?
I'm not married. Here's my question. Please advise me on how to set myself in the right direction. I mean, not to go down the path of developing as a personality in activities, but specifically as a woman.
My answer is when, as they say in fairy tales. Look, I'll tell you, when you stop talking to me for 5 minutes about work and start talking about personal life, only then it means that your river of life has started flowing towards family life. You see, the problem is that a woman has two directions in life. One direction is called the direction of fear, and the other is the direction of love. And out of fear, a woman chooses work, because she's afraid of being left without money, without protection. No one protects her, parents don't protect her, and she doesn't have a husband, and she works out of fear because she wants to live. She's afraid of being left with nothing. You see, that's why she chooses work as the foundation of life. But if she believes in God and begins a spiritual life, starts praying, then love in her heart becomes stronger anyway. And when love in her heart becomes stronger, work takes second place. And she starts doing more of what she loves, calling friends, communicating, taking care, going to good people club. She becomes cheerful and active. She loves and cares for everyone. And she continues to work. She doesn't quit her job. It's not like she chose this path and quit her job, no. It just means that work is not in the first place in her life. Fear doesn't overwhelm her existence. She enjoys life, and at this moment she faces her amount of work. That means she meets a man who will torment her, and she will develop alongside him, becoming better and better. That's roughly how it goes.
Another question. Probably about the same thing, but still. During yesterday's conversation about the purpose of life, I realized that I wanted to get married so badly, and that's why I'm still not married. Because I made it the purpose of life.
It's great that you understood this, that's right. Yes, great. Now you've sharply turned away from it and focused on work. You think, all men to hell.
How to find the right goal now?
How to find the right goal? You should learn to glorify God. You should think about God, sing about Him, listen to lectures about Him, study what spiritual life is. And gradually, when you think about this, you will be able to find the right goal. When a person thinks, reflects on this, they understand what higher love is. They begin to realize this, and then they understand who the Lord is. This happens through love. You will comprehend the highest love. This is pure love, much purer than what you dream about now. This love should capture your heart. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.